Nissan, a brand that was once a fan favorite and once a brand that could compete with the top 3 of Japan, sadly cannot keep its company going in the big 2024. Nissan's prime was probably 20-30 years ago. Nissan had tons of enthusiasts, tons of supporters when they had the GTR, when they had the Nissan Silvias. Nissan was just for sure one of the big head brands when you think about JDM cars. Nissan has had a lot of trouble trying to stay afloat. I believe earlier this year they had their first multi-billion-dollar loss. But thankfully for them, an iconic and legendary brand you guys know as Honda came to the rescue. Honda is offering to merge with Nissan, even though it seems like they're more like buying it, which also means that they're going to be merging with Mitsubishi. Now I'm going to tell you guys everything I know about this merger, all the things that are going to happen, some things that may be effective, some challenges that may appear, and some things that might not be so good. So if you guys are excited for this video, please make sure to subscribe, as literally 99% of you guys are not subscribed, and also happy holidays. Honda is one of those brands that we could see lasting until the end of time. Both, I mean, by their cars and by their business practices. Back in the day, Honda made plenty fun cars. The Honda Prelude, the Civic Si, the Civic Type R, the Accord. If you guys even want to go into the Acura form of Honda, we can see that they made the TL, the RSX, the RLX if you want to consider that one, the TLX, TSX, all those cars. So at one point in time, Honda was a very fun brand. But as you guys know, over the years, they've kind of been softened. They kind of turned more towards an economy car, which I do know that's kind of how they made their name, but let's be honest, they did have more fun cars back then than they do now. And Nissan was kind of the same way. I feel like in the early 2000s and the late 90s and late 80s, Nissan was just known for purely fun driving cars. Like I said, Honda is a brand that's going to continue until the end of time. Their business practices are amazing. They know how to innovate, they know how to capture certain audiences, and they know just what the public wants. But sadly, I can't say the same about Nissan. Nissan have been struggling a lot in the EV department. Nissan can't seem to create a good EV car or a good hybrid car that could be sold to the public. Honda, on the other hand, they've been making amazing hybrid cars and even recently some pretty good electric cars. I haven't even brought up Honda's new technology that they announced in 2024 with the solid state batteries that are going to offer unparalleled performance, unparalleled range for these electric motors. And sad enough, I just don't think that Nissan has that sort of innovation currently. I mean, for example, guys, look at the Nissan GTR. They've been using basically the same model for the last 15 years. Sure, it's had some slight updated internals, updated interior cosmetics and exterior cosmetics, but at the end of the day, it's the same car. They had the new 400Z, which was pretty overpriced, and it's unfortunate because that car looked amazing and it had a twin turbo V6. So on paper, it does seem like a desirable car, but it just can't seem to compete with the Civic Type R or the Toyota Supra. Nissan's current EV lineup is also somewhat laughable. I mean, they only have the Nissan Leaf and, sorry if I pronounced this wrong, but the Nissan Ariya. And I'm not gonna lie, I've probably seen 5 Nissan Arias in the wild, and I drive around a lot actually. That means they're not selling too good. Plummeting sales, stagnating innovation, it calls for one thing, and that's to get help from one of the best car brands in the entire world. Here, we have Honda. Honda has been in the game for many years now. I'm pretty sure the Honda Corporation is probably around 100 years old at this point. And as we know, Honda is probably the king of hybrid technology, which, whether you guys love it or dislike it, that is the future. I'm sorry, everybody. Honda's newer hybrid technologies are just so amazing, and a lot of people that drive their hybrid cars think that they're perfectly fine. They say they're fun, they say they're snappy. The same can be said for current Nissan cars. I think the saddest thing here though is that Honda has something that Nissan doesn't have, and that's brand loyalty. There are always people out there excited for the new Civic to come out, excited for the new Accord to come out, and even with Honda's crazy redesign that they just did for a lot of their models, people are excited for those cars. And I'm really sorry to any Nissan fans, but personally, I've never ever heard somebody say that they were excited for the new Nissan Maxima to come out. And I don't mean that to be an attack on the brand, or I don't mean that as an attack on people that like Nissan cars. I just feel like this is a problem with Nissan trying to maintain brand loyalty, and I feel like they really need to market their cars better. Like I said, I never owned a Nissan, so I really don't know what it's like, but I currently drive a 2013 Honda Accord EXL, and this car is amazing. I could see why people love Honda. I've been in plenty of other Nissans. My friends drive Altimas, Infinities if you guys want to count that, and Nissan sort of city cars like the Maxima and the Versa. They're cool cars, but unfortunately I just feel like they don't have much soul to them. Editor's note, a brand new Nissan Versa is like $10, so I don't know why I'm even trying to expect a lot from it. That's the biggest difference that I realized from my Honda to other Nissans, is a lack of character. When I compare my Accord and also to my girlfriend's Accord, like I said, I'm probably a little biased here, but I just feel like those cars have character, where a lot of newer Nissans just don't have it. I'm really not trying to roast Nissan, I'm not trying to roast Nissan drivers, but deep down inside, I just feel like Nissan lost its soul. Honda, they don't make the sportiest cars anymore, they don't make the craziest cars, but they still pride themselves on having fun driving experiences, whether that's with snappy cars or by having beautifully crafted interiors. The drive is something that that matters so much to Honda. And I just personally feel that combined with bad business practices and with bad business decisions, a lack of a soul is what's really driving Nissan into the ground. But like I said, thank God for Honda, because they're going to be saving Nissan and Mitsubishi by default. So let's actually talk about the merger here. And there's no better way to talk about it than the stock market. Many people are very bullish on Honda and Nissan. As like I've said, Honda has great business practices, they have great business roots, and we know that they could really lift Nissan out of the grave this time. Nissan and Honda together will create the third largest auto brand in the entire world, trailing right behind Tesla, Toyota, and dethroning BYD, which is a very new player in the car market, and I would love to make a video about them. If you're close to Nissan, if you paid attention to the way that their markets are moving, paid attention to how their dealerships are going, you'd have known that something drastic would have to happen. Nissan even started going as far as to merging some of the Infiniti and Nissan stores to save costs. And I know that the CEO even took a 50% salary cut in order to help the brand, which to be honest, I respect it. Nissan decided to do that with Infiniti because it would help the burden of overhead costs as well as boosting sales per location. So I mean, I guess it would funnel more people into a certain store instead of having them spread out all over the place. But Nissan's struggles are a lot deeper than that. Nissan for a while has had an overemphasis on volume, where they were focused on boosting global sales volume, often at the cost of profitability. So they were so focused at getting all these cars out that they were willing to take even lower margins for them. They were very heavy with a lot of incentives, especially during the times of COVID. Many automakers are offering heavy discounts to try to get their inventory out, as it was really necessary to stay afloat during those times. Some companies were better than others, they were able to recover, but Nissan seems to have been in a slump ever since. Kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, but Nissan kind of has somewhat of an aging product lineup. We've seen the same Maximas, the same Versas, the same Nissan Leaf, the same GTR for many years now. People, they want something different, but it's also pretty disheartening when you do something different and it just doesn't get received well from the public. Like the 400Z, they finally brought a new generation, and I'm sorry, but the rollout was terrible. The Nissan Ariya that I spoke about earlier, nobody wants it, I'm so sorry. And even things such as a decline in brand appeal. It's almost like they lost their soul. They lost a connection to the customer. Where other brands such as Honda or Tesla or Ford, they have die-hard fans. But I feel like die-hard Nissan fans are pretty rare to come across nowadays. And it goes even deeper. With different shareholders at Nissan, I do know that Renwall, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I do know that they played a large part in Nissan's development. I know there's a lot of distrust between the brands. Some shareholders wanting to do something different than what the CEO wanted, and that caused turmoil in the company. And like stated earlier, there was intense market competition. When you're going against giants like Tesla or Toyota or even the upcoming BYD, which took a lot of the market away from Nissan, which I'm going to cover pretty soon. And even with the rise of brands such as Hyundai and Kia, I know they don't make the greatest mechanically sound cars, but with the newer designs of those cars, we can all agree that sales have skyrocketed for them. I see Hyundais and Kias everywhere now, and people are really seeming to love their electric cars also. And going back to something such as the weaker EV strategies, the Nissan Leaf, nobody wants that car. The Nissan Ariya, nobody wants that car. I don't like to say it that way, but it's just true. And I mean, there were global challenges too. I briefly mentioned COVID-19, the pandemic that took the world by storm. And like I said, some brands just couldn't bounce back like others could. And even things such as the rise in price of raw materials, the rise in price of labor, all those things have a big effect on massive corporations. And Nissan just couldn't adapt. And here's what I think that Nissan's biggest flaw is, and that is their dependency on key markets. The United States and China have been Nissan's #1 sales point since like forever. Their sales are slowly but surely declining in the United States, as we're getting to an age where there are so many different car brands that are offering a lot more than what Nissan is offering. And the thing is, there are very few reasons why people would pick Nissan over its competitors. Would you pick a Maxima over a Civic? Would you pick like a Nissan Ariya over a Honda Prologue? Or would you pick like a Nissan Rogue over a Chevy Traverse? In America, the competition is through the roof. It's so hard to establish your brand overseas when there are plenty other brands trying to do the same exact thing. And this even goes to China too. Over the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of appearances of just seemingly random brands in China. We saw BYD, we saw Xiaomi, which was a phone manufacturer. And honestly, I used to really like their phones because I used to really be into all Android and all that stuff. But they're making cars, and BYD, they have a very large market share. I think currently they're the third most valuable brand. So Nissan is losing out on very key marketplaces here. But hopefully this merger could benefit both of the companies. It's been hypothesized that both the companies merging can decrease manufacturing costs. And that's sort of a trickle-down effect from sharing resources, from sharing labor, things like that. Another big upside to their merging could be increasing innovation. As I mean, you have all the innovations from Honda and you have all the innovations from Nissan, which wasn't that much, but you're bringing it together, you're going to be creating a very large innovative company, which could be doing tons of research on new technology, new ways to make your cars efficient, and even research to keep brand loyalty. We're not too sure on how this merger is going to work. I know there were mergers back in the day with other car brands, so yeah, yes, they will be the quote-unquote same brand, but I'm sure they are still gonna have their independent models. You're still gonna see the Nissan Maxima and the Honda Civic. You're probably not gonna see a Honda Maxima, but I could be completely wrong. And I think one of the biggest benefits to this merger is global expansion. Hopefully with the help of Honda, Nissan will actually be able to break through in those key markets that were previously declining. If you go anywhere in the United States, you see tons of new Hondas everywhere. I've never been to China or Asia, but I'm sure you see a bunch of Hondas over there too. Hopefully Honda will be able to lend some of its expertise to Nissan, and hopefully the companies will be growing simultaneously. I've said many pros to this, but now let's talk about some of the cons. Many people believe that the brands will get diluted. They've argued that this merger is going to outright destroy Nissan, where instead of them being assimilated, Honda is just going to completely take it over. And honestly, I could kind of see that. And also that's more for the identities of the brand and not literally just taking everything and selling it as your own. You guys get what I'm saying. Another thing here is that the overlapping models. If this Nissan and Honda merger really goes through where they just straight up become one big company, not two separate entities under the same name, there are going to be plenty of overlapping models. Both of these companies are very, very active in the sedan market and even their luxury counterparts. Well, Infiniti still exists over Acura. I know Acura is probably many times more profitable than Infiniti, so it's just kind of weird. This is really seeming like a survival of the fittest sort of thing here. So at the end of the day, we're not really too sure what is going to be brought about this merger. Just like cars, people could be going through something bad. Whether it's work, school, your relationship, you may think you're stuck somewhere that you can't get out of. But just like Nissan, never give up. You could always find somebody that can help you. Even if it means reaching out for that helping hand, take it. Even if you're embarrassed or something like that. I'm sure Nissan doesn't 100% want to do this, just like how some people may be reluctant to find help. At the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay afloat. I've always thought of car companies as, and this may sound weird, but as living, breathing things. Car companies have their own personalities, just like us. Car companies have the things that they know work, just like us. Car companies have whole cultures around them. I don't think it's that crazy to think that way either. Never be afraid to ask for help. If Nissan didn't accept this, they would be down in the dirt. As long as you guys are living, as long as your brand is still there's always another chance. Nissan and Mitsubishi, they found their second chance. There's always good in the world, guys. You just gotta look for it. I didn't really mean to get all philosophical, but yeah, there's always good in the world. There's always gonna be someone there that will want to help you, no matter how crazy the world may seem. The market between Honda and Nissan isn't gonna be the only thing that's skyrocketing. My channel has seen incredible gains this year. I started actually uploading consistently, and I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like I've actually got a good little thing going on here. Going into 2025, I hope to bring you guys the best content that I could. I hope to bring you guys at least 55 videos next year, every week, y'all. And honestly, I gotta thank you guys. This dream of mine kind of seemed pretty far-fetched, but thanks to all of you, my viewers, the people that have commented good and bad things, it really pushes me to keep on going. So cheers to an amazing 2024, and I can't wait to see you guys next year. Thank you guys so much for watching.